How many of Florida State's commitments will actually sign with the Seminoles?
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football writer and recruiting analyst. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. Truly appreciate you stopping in to talk Seminoles with me. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Today's show is going to be about the committed players for Florida State. A little bit of news in regards to a key commitment to the Gators that Florida State really covets. And we're going to talk about playing the long game. Florida State needs to get into the season, continue to recruit some of the guys they didn't get, and to finalize the class with some flips. Quite a few flips probably is what's going to be needed. But first, let's talk about the committed players. Number one, just for a ballpark number here, this isn't 10 or 15 guys. This isn't 18, whatever. They have exactly 9 commitments, 8 of which from inside the state of Florida. That's exactly the way it should be for the Florida State Seminoles with their early recruiting. Now that they've gotten official visits taken care of in terms of who's going to come in and whatnot, and they've had a few already go through the process, it is crunch time. The next 3 weeks are basically your program builders or your program losers. They have to overachieve. Like talking to people around the industry right now, this is not a program trending in the right direction. I spoke with John Garcia Jr. earlier today from Rivals. He's a national recruiting analyst. And we're both concerned about where Florida State's at, but we're like, who do they lead for? And of the committed guys, like which ones are they really going to keep? We're not sure. He's got far more sources than I do. John's a lifelong Florida guy. He's from South Florida, grew up watching the Noles very closely, but he's not even sure where Florida State stands. So I want to bring up this list and just kind of go through it one by one, talk about some of the things that I've heard, some of the schools that are after them, and what Florida State can do to counter. So to start off with here, again, 9 guys that are committed, 8 are from the in-state prospects, which is great. Mike Ionata from Clearwater, I expect him to stick with the Noles. He is from Calvary Christian. He's a really good football player. He's got family ties to Florida State. Of all the guys committed to the Florida State Seminoles, the offensive lineman is probably as good a bet as it gets. And to be honest, considering Florida State needs offensive linemen, you can play tackle or guard. That's a great situation. He's a kid who'll probably redshirt, go through the program, and in a couple of years will be a starter. Very nice pickup for Mike Norvell and the Florida State Seminoles. The one that I think is most intriguing is a South Florida player, Karan Maycock. Now, he met with Norvell and some of the staff allegedly today at the FAU/FSU camp down in South Florida, but he's still taking official visits. I know he's giving lip service that he's truly committed to Florida State, but from talking to other people, there's a lot of chance that he could end up somewhere else. Syracuse in particular. If Miami makes a run at him, I'd be curious to see if he went there. But he says the right things about Florida State. Now I need to see it. He's an inside linebacker that is very active, very instinctive. He plays at Miami Central. That's a program that FSU has a lot of history with. And to be honest, those are the kinds of players that Florida State sign when they get over the top and they're a national contender. Miami Northwestern, Miami Central, Miami Carroll Central, Miami Gulliver Prep, Miami Columbus, all those programs down there, Florida State under Bowden, and ever since then, when they are really, really good, they steal some of the kids from Dade County. Maycock's committed. Florida State needs to find a way to keep him committed. Again, he's saying the right things, but I'm not buying it based on all the other intel that I'm hearing. And he's talking to a lot of schools. He's going to take some visits. Until he officially says publicly that he's A, shutting it down, and B, he doesn't actually take any more trips of any kind, I think he's going to end up somewhere else. That's just my opinion. I hope I'm wrong, but there's just too much intel for me to believe that he's going to end up with the Noles. Amari Thomas, another kid that's very likely to stick with Florida State. He's now at Bluntstown High School, maybe an hour, not even an hour probably, from Tallahassee. Really athletic kid, 6 foot, 190 pounds, give or take, and he can fly. Really elusive too. Now, I know he plays small town football, but this is a kid that can play at Florida State and be a really good player, as I like to say. This is the kind of kid that Bobby Bowden always used to get at Florida State. Kid that needs a little more work in terms of weight room and some of the basic things that you would think about. But he committed early to Florida State, grew up a Florida State fan. He's from the Panhandle. This one's pretty solid. Barring something very unforeseen, Amari Thomas will end up in Florida State's uniform. Xavier Payne. This one is rather interesting. He is transferred down to South Florida to live in Miami. He was in Orlando at Jones High School. I don't know where Florida State stands with it. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I do know that Penn State and Georgia and Syracuse and many other programs have been after him. The one I've heard the most about recently is Syracuse thinks they have a really good chance to flip it. I'll just be blunt here. I've made note of Syracuse numerous times on this show. Florida State cannot, from a political standpoint or just a numbers standpoint, continue to lose recruiting battles to Syracuse for in-state kids. And if they flip Florida State kids, that is a black eye. I don't care which position it is. I don't care if it's a legacy, a non-legacy, offensive player, defensive player. That is a black eye. Watch out for Xavier Payne. He's being recruited by a lot of other schools. Doesn't mean that he won't stick with Florida State, but it is far, far from over with. Tadarius Hughes, Miami Northwestern, maybe the most important guy on the commitment list. You could argue it. To stay committed, this is the kind of defensive back that can play multiple roles, especially in Tony White's new scheme where they use 3 safeties, and he can play multiple spots among them. The length, the athleticism, to put the foot in the ground and change direction, athleticism, the instincts, all of it. Florida State doesn't have enough of that on its roster right now. As I already noted about Maycock, Miami Northwestern, Central, etc. You got to win those battles. They've already won it, but he's taking visits and looking around a little bit. Don't know where this one stands. I haven't heard anything here in the last week or two, but I know there have been rumblings about other schools. We'll see where he ends up, how many visits he takes. But Florida State's going to probably have to battle all the way through December to keep Tadarius Hughes committed, and he is one of the best guys in Florida, regardless of position. And like he stands out on the field. Like he plays for South Florida Express 7-on-7, and they've got every one of their DBs is a major Power 5 guy, or Power 4s, I should say. And he was one of the guys I'm like, who is that? And when somebody told me, I'm like, oh, okay, that's the Florida State commit I'd heard about. And he put on a show. He got a pick 6 in the game that I watched. Difference maker. Florida State needs to keep him in the fold. Darion Williams out of Tampa. This is another playmaker. I don't care if he plays DB or receiver at Florida State. I don't even care what they project him at right now. That could change. He's equally as good on either side of the ball from a upside standpoint. 5'11", 6 foot, super athletic, super twitchy. This is another Bobby Bowden special. Figure it out once he gets to campus. If it's offense, maybe he plays slot receiver, maybe he plays flanker. I don't care. Maybe he plays nickel, maybe he plays corner if he's at DB. Again, I do not care. Sounds like Florida State's got a good chance to keep him. And then you hear some other rumblings. Maybe Florida. I've heard them quite a bit with him. I don't know where that stands. I don't know Darion, but I do know that he's a really good football player. This is one of the guys you can't afford to lose. Ephraim White, he just took an unofficial visit to Notre Dame. He's a wide receiver DB from Vero Beach. He's been committed to Florida State since 2023, December of 23. It's a long time. But the unofficial visit to Notre Dame makes it obvious. He's not done with his recruitment. Florida State can't afford to lose another elite athlete, especially like Notre Dame stole a lot of players out of Florida in the last 5-10 years, and Marcus Freeman and his crew do a great job. But this one would hurt. A kid that's been committed over a year, that would be rough. And then finally, Darrell Bell. That's a kid. It sounds like Florida State's trending in the right direction, although he's been committed for a while. Miami Lakes kid, he's another guy. He was the first guy to commit to Florida State in the class, October of 2023. He's another kid that can play either side of the ball. He's a lot like Darion Williams. Darrell Bell, the third, athletic as all get out. I think he will play safety, but if he played offense or something, wouldn't shock me. Running back, receiver, another guy that's just really twitchy, really athletic, and has that ability. Haven't heard as much about other schools with him, and I think Florida State's probably in a better spot. But as soon as I say that, keep in mind, schools are going to hammer Florida State with, like, not just negative recruiting, but like coaching staff's not going to be there. Never mind the point of the 2-10 season. They're getting hit from every direction right now. it's possible they could chip away with a guy like Darrell Bell III as well. Who knows? When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about something that I touched on yesterday, but is something that's trending and probably not in the greatest of directions. That is Caden Hall, what Florida State has to do with him and several other recruits in terms of the long game. That is next here on Locked on Seminoles. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and we're even to the NBA Finals. And every game delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before, tip-off, and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Do you have Oklahoma City? Do you have the Pacers? Do you want to talk about the over-unders? Do you want to just talk about the point spread for the game or bet on somebody like Halliburton? Is he going to get a triple-double for the Pacers? There's a lot of different ways you can do it. And again, you can do same-game parlays. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. When I spoke with John Garcia Jr. earlier today, he had mentioned to me that he'd gotten a hold of Caden Hall, who had committed to Florida, talked about it extensively yesterday. The whole first segment was pretty much about Caden Hall, former Florida State fan, apparently, because former is key to the point that he committed to Florida. And, according to Garcia, he has canceled his Alabama and his Florida State and his Oklahoma visits. He's done, allegedly. Now, this is the state of Florida, and anything goes. I hardly ever believe a recruit, no offense to anybody out there, any of their parents, but 17-year-olds change their minds about as much as I will change my T-shirt. So that being the case, Florida State has to hammer away. This is an NFL player. This is a guy that can be 3 and out, and he was a Florida State fan from the Panhandle. I'd mentioned on yesterday's show that it's one thing not to get his commitment, to not get an official visit wasn't good enough. I said, let's see if he takes the OV. I left it at that. When Garcia hit me with the point about not getting any form of official visit, I'm like, that is the death knell. Florida State fan from the Panhandle is going to drive through Tallahassee to get to Gainesville every time he goes back and forth to campus. That sticks in your craw. That one hurts. Florida State cannot continue on this trend. They are failing miserably in the Panhandle. Right now, they're not doing well. Like Jacksonville to Pensacola should be theirs. They are failing. Who do they lead for right now in that area outside of a couple of local kids? I talked about some of them yesterday. Green, a couple other guys. That's fine, but they've missed out on too many kids. Now, Amari's committed. Okay, I'll give you that. Another Florida State fan, that's a kid you should get. Small school guy. They grew up Florida State. You should get him. But if you don't get Trenton Henderson or Caden Hall or Cameron Brooks or any of the Jacksonville kids, this will be a recruiting failure class, period. Fail. They must flip some of these kids. They're committed elsewhere or they don't even have visits yet. I don't care that they went 2-10 last year. Fail. This is unacceptable at Florida State, period. It's amazing because they've gotten so many kids on campus. So far, they've done a good job with the unofficial visits. They've done a good job setting up visits. The kids are starting to cancel, and the kids they've had committed to these visits that took them, they didn't get any commitments yet either. Now, that's kind of a national trend. I get it. But here's the key overall. This is the long game. Florida State is in an awkward spot because the recruiting calendar has moved to the summer. The season starts late August, early September. Players want to see what they're going to do. Well, the commitments happen first. Nothing Florida State can do about that. I get it. I want to hear constantly, and I'll be checking, that they are hammering because they haven't put in the effort they should have as a staff. They have not. Even the new staff, they have not with recruiting. And that is Mike Norvell's, again, his fault. They have to get on the trail and do better. They did a good thing by going to the FSU camp in South Florida. That's great. But they're not winning battles in their own backyard. That means the long game. They've got to win games this fall, get kids to reconsider, get kids to take unofficial visits, or maybe unofficial and official in the fall, because some of them apparently aren't going to visit this summer, and get them to sign in December. Florida State must play the long game. Right now, I am very nervous about Florida State's class. Very nervous. This is not trending where it needs to, especially, again, on the I-10 corridor. It's unacceptable. There's no way around that. Florida stunk last year, too. They just took a kid out of your backyard. Cal took a kid out of your backyard, et cetera, et cetera. This is not good. I just don't understand how that can happen at Florida State. And again, I don't care that you were 2-10 last year. It's Florida State. It shouldn't be that hard to sell all the great tradition at that program. It just shouldn't. We'll see if they can turn it around. But right now, I'm not warm and fuzzy about some of the key guys, although the overall numbers are good. It's just bizarre. But we'll see how that goes. Thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. I truly appreciate you stopping in. Please hit that like button, that subscribe, and share this podcast. And if you're on YouTube, please comment. It helps the algorithm a ton. We will see you again soon on Locked On Seminoles.